Yo, what is up? It is your boy Zeller, back at it again with a brand new part to What If Deku was Kota's brother. On the last part, I had asked you guys for 250 likes, and you guys ended up getting about 300, so I'm definitely going to be here bringing you guys What If Deku and Kota were brothers part 4. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this recap, and with no further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so in the last part, we had essentially left off with the 2-week break, with Deku hanging out with Trice and Kota, just having a pretty chill time, as well as training Trice and helping her improve on her speed. Deku didn't really, train himself too much. I mean, he did a little bit, but nothing too crazy, since, he didn't really view it as that necessary. But, that being said, we also covered the sports festival arc, and a sort of double date, and I had pretty much left it off with some good old studying, I left it off with some good old studying, just a little bit of studying, with Deku and Trice. Bakugo and Uraraka also started studying. I forgot to mention that too. They studied a little bit, Oh my god. Anyways, so, I'm going to go ahead and skip right on over to the day where the students return to class, and let's go ahead and get started. So, all of the students actually return to class, and by the time that they get back, their relationships are actually advancing in the best direction possible. Bakugo and Uraraka are now more comfortable around each other, and Bakugo's less of a, how do I put it? Less of a I don't know about this. Now he's more like Deku in the beginning, where he feels comfortable around Uraraka, and their relationship isn't kind of weird anymore. So yeah, that being said, that's how they're going. And Deku and Trice, they studied a lot during that time. So Trice is pretty much in love with Deku because he gave her that A+. So so yeah, boys. Okay, so Deku would proceed to just be sitting there next to Trice and Bakugo and Uraraka. They're all just talking about what the hell they're gonna do next time. Maybe they should go out in another one like that sometime soon. As Deku would say that would be pretty dope, except this time they should actually just go hang out at... Maybe this time they should go for some dinner, Maybe this time they could just go out a little more fancy. As Bakugo would be like, yeah, I guess. As, Deku would just be like, go along with it, trust me. As Bakugo would say, alright, we'll do it. As Deku would just be smiling, and he would tell Bakugo, trust me, we're gonna have a happy ending. As Bakugo and Deku are just gonna smile mischievously. As, they're both thinking about that. As, what's it called? Midnight would actually walk in as Aizawa was just like, alright guys, so you guys are going to be going on internships, and you guys are going to be picking heroes' names. I don't care how long you take, but just make it fast. I'm going to sleep. As, Aizawa would just start sleeping in his sleeping bag, as Midnight would walk in and be like, so, you guys are going to be picking names. As everybody would proceed to walk up there, and they would actually end up picking the same names as in canon. Everybody except for Deku and Trice. Trice would go up there and say, I'm the speedster hero, Trice. As everybody would be like, what? She would say, yeah, I'm the speedster hero, Trice. As Deku would just be like, that's pretty cool. As Deku would go up there and say, well, I'm the water hose hero, Tsunami. As everybody would be like, Tsunami? And Deku would say, well, yeah. As he would begin to lift his hands up as the classroom starts flooding, and he says, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention, pick up your shoes. Sit on top of your desk. As everybody would do that, and then he would lift up water out of nowhere. He would create water from literally nothing. As water just starts rising from the floors. He says, see, I can create water from nothing. I can create tsunamis too. That makes sense, doesn't it? As he then lifts it down and condenses it, as he then puts it back down to the earth. And then everybody's just like, as Deku's like, yeah. As Trice would just be like, show off. As, then we got everybody having to, be told about picking their internships. As, Deku would actually look at his internships. He actually has a lot of offers, being that he actually ended up getting first place. Todoroki would have the most, with Deku second, Bakugo third, and Trice fourth. So everybody definitely has their options. That being said, guys, Deku would proceed to look at everything that he has, as he then sees that, he has an offer from the pro hero Washi. Deku would actually consider picking him, but he would then see... Where was I at? Honestly, I forgot. But like I was saying, Deku would proceed to look at his offers as, he would just look around, see the hero washers, who then say, oh, I'm gonna go with him, as you know, he sees that, you know, his quirk might be compatible with Deku, so maybe he could teach him a thing or two about water. As you know, Deku then see a familiar name, pro hero Manuel. As Deku would say, what? Manuel? As you know, he would then start looking around as he's like, what? He used to work with my parents. As he would then start smiling, as you know, he would then think that, you know what, maybe he'll go with him, you know, talk about how it was working with them, and maybe he can teach them a thing or two about how his parents were in the old days. As you know, Manuel would be happy that Deku actually ended up choosing him of all people, as Deku would actually think that, you know, it's a pretty good choice. He used to talk to him when he was a little kid, and, you know, maybe this could be a good time to catch up with Manuel. As, you know, Deku would just be smiling, thinking that, yeah, this might be fun. As, you know, Deku would proceed to tell, you know, Trice about where he's going to be going. As, you know, he would actually, you know, be talking to her, as he tells her that, you know, he's gonna be gone with up there. She begins to tell him that she doesn't know exactly where she's going yet, but, you know, she'll figure it out. As you know, she definitely knows what's going on, but at the same time, she's just like, who should I pick? Because she then tells Deku, like, who should I pick? I mean, there's not really too many options in terms of quick heroes. As Deku would then look at her and say, oh, you're right, there really isn't that many speedsters. As she says, yeah, I guess. As Deku would proceed to look at her and say, oh, look, you got an offer from Edgeshot. And she would say, oh yeah, I was thinking about him. As he would say, you should go with him, I hear he's a pretty dope hero to go work with. And she would say, alright, I guess I'm gonna go work with Edgeshot then. As Deku would say, nice, let me know all about it, it'd be pretty cool to know what he teaches you. And she would say, right. As you know, they would then, you know, go ahead and you know, just go give a little bit of, give each other a little love kiss, you know, little something, nothing too crazy. As you know, he would then say bye. So he would then walk up to Bakugo and say, who did you pick? As Bakugo would then proceed to say, best genist. As Deku would say, that's pretty awesome. As he would then say, well, I'm off now, I picked Manuel. As Bakugo would say, huh? Why him? He's not even that big of a hero. As Deku would say, yeah, he may not be the greatest hero, but he used to work with my parents, and, you know, it'll be a little bit of a nice opportunity to see him again. As Bakugo would understand, and he would say, right, alright then, well, I guess if that's your choice, then can't do anything about it. So Deku would proceed to just be like, yeah. As you know, then we got he and Ida are actually going to be going with him, so things are going to have a little bit of a change in this version of events. So Deku would proceed to ride the bus with Ida, as you know, they then begin to talk for a little bit. As you know, he starts asking Ida, you know, what's up with him. You know, he starts like, hey, like, maybe we got off on the wrong foot, but, you know, maybe we could talk a little bit. So he notices that, you know, Ida's not his usual self. He seems to be angry and just upset. He seems to just have a burning rage inside of him. As Deku's just wondering why the hell Ida would have chose Manuel of all people. And he then thinks that maybe he should keep a watch on him. As, you know, they would arrive, as Ida just talks to him a little bit, you know, kind of giving him the sore shoulder. As, you know, Deku would just be like, eek, that's cold. As, you know, they would arrive to Manuel's, as, you know, that would actually be extremely fun for Deku. I mean, Deku would begin to talk about his parents. Manuel would say that he's glad that Ida came along as well, and that, you know, he never thought that he was gonna be having the UA students come to him. Like, that's pretty it's something that could definitely make his day. As Deku would smile and think, yeah, and you know, maybe you could teach me a thing or two about what my parents taught you back in the day. As Manny would say, oh, definitely, I could definitely teach you some of that. As, you know, Deku would just spend his time, you know, with Manny, having a pretty good time, you know, just having, not really learning much in terms of, like, battle and stuff, but definitely learning about his parents, about what they taught Manuel, about the times that he messed up, about the times that, you know, his parents, you know, done goofed. As Deku would just be having a blast, just hearing about this and that. So, you know, Manuel would finally just be doing everything like normal. The next couple days would pass by, and, you know, Ida actually would have ended up having a pretty decent time there. You know, he found out that Manuel actually was a really nice guy. As, you know, everything would actually be going by smoothly. You know, nothing actually bad would be happening until, you know, we have the Nomu incident and the stain thing. As they would be walking, they would hear some explosions. As Manuel would have rushed off to see it, as Ida would actually dash off into an alleyway. Deku would run off with Manuel, as he then turns around and sees that Ida's not there. As he then rushes back, telling Manuel that if he's not back in 5 minutes, then to not worry about it. He'll handle it. As Manuel would say, okay, I trust you, Deku. As Deku would teleport straight to Ida. As Stain at this point would have essentially been like 2 centimeters away from stabbing Ida. As Deku would open a portal that Stain, right as Stain was about to stab Ida, so like right on his chest, I guess you could say, as his hand would go through it, and it would actually pierce Stain in the side, in the ribs, as Stain would have actually stabbed himself, and Deku would then say, "So you were trying to kill one of my classmates?" As he would then create 2 tridents in his hands, as he says, "Well, that won't slide." As he then throws the trident that starts spinning in the air, just starts spinning with water, and it stabs Stain in the slightly on the side, injuring him more. As Stain would then say, as Deku would then create 2 portals and teleport Ida and Native out of there. He would then say, "It's between me and you, and I'm gonna take you down." As Stain would say, "I'd like to see you try, brat." As they would proceed to get into a fight, Stain would rush at him as Deku would rush in there with a water armor on, kind of like Noelle from Black Clover, I guess you could say. That water armor, that Empress armor, he would have that on, as all of his physical stats would be improved, as Deku would just be rushing at him, blitzing around Stain, punching him left and right, and using his water weapons to cut into Stain slowly, not creating any fatal injuries, but definitely wearing Stain down. As Stain would have actually landed a couple of hits, but his water armor would have actually dodged. So luckily, Deku didn't get to find out about Stain's, blood curdle quirk, where he, makes people stop moving. And this is going to be extremely good for Deku, since that probably would have gotten him off guard. So, that being said, the fight continues for about 2 more minutes as Deku's still wearing Stain down, and he's, surprised by Stain's superhuman ability to just be able to handle him, even at this level. Stain would actually try to stab at Deku on the part that his armor wasn't covering his face. Deku would turn straight into water, phase in through Stain, and catch him in a water prison. As Stain would try to break out, but Deku would start compressing the ball as Stain starts getting crushed, and he can feel his bones start getting pulverized. As Deku would say, "Give up," as he would then crush it a little more, and he would then drop Stain on the floor as he's knocked out. This would have some pretty big ramifications on the series, since Dabi, Toga, and Spinner would never actually end up joining Shigaraki in this version, so that would never actually pose a problem for them in the Forest training arc. But with that being said, Deku would take Stain in, tie him up and leave him around for any other hero to take the credit for it, since Deku's not that type of person. As Deku would teleport straight back to Manuel as he was actually about to get punched by Nomu. As Deku would move Manuel out of the way and teleport and throw a trident in the air, as the trident then a portal then opens right at the trident's trajectory, and it then opens right on top of the Nomu, hitting it dead in the brain, as the Nomu would then die instantly. As Deku would then say, "You okay?" As Manuel would say, "Yeah." They would get back to back, and Deku would say, "I got your back," as he would then create more water for everybody to use. As Deku would create he would then push the water out, as everybody, around them would then get pushed away. Anybody who isn't a pro hero, as Deku would say, "Guys, we gotta work together to take down these Nomus as quickly and efficiently as possible." As Deku would begin to lead the heroes, telling them exactly what to do, exactly how to use their quirks, and what time to use. As Deku would actually act like more of a pro hero than any of them at this point. Deku would be a natural born leader, as Deku would have actually led all of the pro heroes that were around to taking down the Nomu swiftly and carefully, as that situation would be wrapped up before Endeavor could even arrive. As Endeavor would see that Deku would have actually handled that, and just like in canon, Endeavor would actually end up taking all the credit for no reason. I mean, that's some bullshit. Actually, no, fuck Endeavor. Manuel would actually be taking the credit, and then Deku would say that Manuel was the one that did everything. As Manuel would take the credit, and he would actually smile, thinking Deku that, this is definitely going to help him rise through the ranks. As, he doesn't really care too much about that, but, it could definitely help him out a bit. As Deku would smile and say that it was no problem. Thank him for, helping him, talk about his parents and making that time that he spent with him pretty special. As Manuel would smile, and, Ida would then proceed to get scolded by Deku and Manuel. Like, they would legit tear Man's a new one. As Ida would look at Deku at first and say, "I was supposed to take him out." As he would go in and punch Deku in the face, and Deku would take the blow. As, they're in the office before the dog guy can even come in. As Ida would say, "What the hell makes you think you know anything about it? My brother died. He almost died to a hero, now he can't be one." As Deku would look at Ida and say, and create a trident, as he then does what he did at Todoroki in the sports festival, and he would then hold him up in the air by the 3 spikes, as he would then say, "Oh, so you think that you can just treat anybody the way that you want just because your brother got hurt? Both of my parents died, you stupid bastard. And you think that just because your brother got paralyzed, he got off easy?" You don't know what it's like to lose your parents. As Ida would be like, as Deku would say, and say that stupid shit again, and I'll say something like that again, and I'll kill you next time. As Ida would fall to the ground, as Deku would then punch him back in the face, just like Ida had done. But this time, he would definitely be feeling that for a while. As Ida would be grabbing his face, as Manny would walk in and say, what's going on? As Deku would say, it was nothing. As Ida would say, yeah, I just slipped. As Manuel would just not question it, and the police guy would come in and explain everything, as Deku would give the credit to Manuel just like I had explained, and that would essentially end the Stain arc essentially. So after that, we're gonna go ahead and jump on over to when the students arrive back at UA. They're gonna be having the rescue race, and in this version, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, Deku just teleports straight to All Might as he opens a portal there, grabs All Might and saves him. And afterwards, they're actually told about the finals, to which Deku's actually kind of actually looking forward to it. Finals, nothing bad. As Deku would proceed to think that maybe he could study with Trice, do a little bit more studying. So for the time that they're studying, Deku would actually end up helping her develop her speed, develop more combat prowess, and help her become a better fighter, just in case she actually has to fight, just in case the test isn't what they expect. So Deku and her actually end up training, and Deku actually ends up discovering a brand new ability. This ability being blood manipulation. Blood is pretty much water, so Deku would have actually figured that out when he actually accidentally controlled Trice and made her move on her own by manipulating the blood inside her, and it caused her a little bit of pain, but Deku would realize that he has blood manipulation. He could control people's bodies by the water that's inside of them. As Deku would think that this is incredible, but he's gonna need to master this before he can even use this at all. As Deku would decide that this is dangerous for now, so he won't be using it at all anytime soon. But Deku would definitely hold it in the back of his head, as maybe he can figure it out during this training that they have, I guess. As Deku and Trice would continue to train, as they would take some breaks. As Deku and Trice would definitely study 3 to 4 times a day. They would start doing some crazy amount of studying, to be honest. As they're just having a blast. They're studying a lot. As as they would essentially just have the little test day come around, as they both actually end up acing their tests, because believe it or not, they didn't just do this type of studying, they did the other type, so they actually did pretty decent. And in terms of the fight with All Might, do I even gotta say it, guys? Come on, it's gonna be Bakugo and Deku versus All Might. Those two are practically brothers. I mean, they've been training together ever since they can remember. So this fight, it's pretty one-sided. As soon as All Might steps in and shoots a smash, Deku would create a water barrier between them, as the smash wouldn't do anything, as Deku would teleport Bakugo over there. As Bakugo lands a howitzer impact right at Bakugo's face. Right at All Might's face, as Deku would teleport there, throwing water knives straight at All Might, wearing him down a little bit. As he then traps him inside of a ball, as he then starts compressing, and as All Might can feel himself, start getting crushed, as Deku would then say, guess that's enough, as he releases All Might, but All Might then comes back in and throws a smash right at Deku's face. But Deku luckily turns into water before it can hit him, and Deku would then say, as Deku would then lift his hand up, as all of the water containers around the area would just break, as a huge amount of water would just begin to burst in, as Deku would say, tsunami, as a giant tsunami would engulf All Might and destroy about 3 blocks of the city thing that they were in. So All Might would definitely take a toll in that battle, and you would realize just how powerful Deku was, thinking that maybe he should have given that quirk to Deku. As Deku and Bakugo would proceed to win. As Bakugo says, come on man, you could have let me fight him a little more. As Deku would say, sorry, but he did hit me. As Bakugo would say, yeah, I guess. As Bakugo and Deku would just proceed to smile, as they say, well, that's really it for this. As I would then explain to them about the forest training arc, and how that's gonna go down. As Deku would smile, thinking that that's gonna be pretty dope. As Deku would then look at Bakugo and say, well, you ready to get some training on? As Bakugo would say, definitely. And Deku and Trice would proceed to walk home with Bakugo. Her rock actually had somewhere to be, because she was talking to her parents, so she couldn't catch up to them, and she had to walk home by herself. But Bakugo, Deku, and Trice would proceed to have a pretty fun time. They'd go to the park and just start messing around, a little bit of combat training, and Uraraka would just essentially go home and eat. As this is where we're going to be leaving it off, guys. If you guys enjoyed this part, make sure to leave a like down below, and I'm going to be needing 300 likes for the next part. After you guys smash that, you guys are going to get the next part. And with that being said, it has been your boy Zether, and I am